Hello everybody, my name is Loopshoop, and today we are going to be ranking every single weapon in Breath of the Wild. Now, first of all, I don't know what these numbers are about, we're just going to be ignoring those, but we are going based off of how useful a weapon is, not just, how good it is, because that'd be kind of a boring tier list. We're going by there's a few things that I'm considering here. I'm first of all considering how good it is, how good it feels to use, how cool it looks and feels, and, just the vibe of each weapon. There's a lot that goes into it, but, that's what we're going with here, and you'll kind of understand my reasoning as we get into this. But let's start off. We're starting off not too strong with I believe this is a Traveler's Claymore. The Traveler's Claymore. None of the Traveler's items are very good at all. It's not good. And it's getting B. Next we have a Soldier's Claymore. I think, if I could get a couple of these wrong, please forgive me if I do. I'm pretty sure this is a Soldier's Claymore. It's a step up, actually. I think, now that I think about it, I think this thing does like 10 damage, right? Which is not even that good either. Alright guys, this is editing Loopshoop here. I just noticed I made a severe mistake here. For some reason, in my mind, I was confusing the Soldier's Claymore right here for the Traveler's Claymore. Because you'll hear me say I think it does 10 damage. The Traveler's Claymore does 10 damage. The Soldier's Claymore does 20 damage. And it's actually a really good weapon, because I remember you find this actually semi-early on, and 20 damage is pretty strong to have early on, as early as you find this. When you find this thing, when you first start finding it, 20 damage is a lot, and it's actually a really good weapon. So I made a mistake of putting it in B. I'll realize this mistake way later in the video, but I just want to get that out of the way so you guys don't think I'm an idiot straight off the bat. But take it away, me. I don't love two-handed weapons usually, unless we get to like some of these, which do crazy damage. But if they don't, they're just too slow and they take away your shield. I'm just not a big fan of them usually. I usually stick to one-handed weapons. We have a Knight's Claymore. This is definitely a step up from the other two Claymores. This one's very cool. It does a lot of damage. It does 38 damage. Maybe this one does more than 10. I can't remember now. I could be spitting straight lies to you guys. I'm pretty sure this one does 38 damage though. Like I'm pretty sure that's drilled into my mind at this point. This one's pretty fire. I'm gonna give it an A tier. You know what? You do find them a lot. They do a lot of damage. I know the jump from a Soldier's Claymore to a Knight's Claymore is crazy. I'm gonna have to put it in S for that. And oh, it's super cool though. Like there's like writing on here that is has been translated before. I can't remember what it translates to, but it's really cool. A really cool weapon. Next we have a Boko Bat. This thing is terrible. I'm pretty sure it does 6 damage. And why would you ever use this thing? It's horrendous. Spiked Boko Bat, on the other hand, peak. Very good. It does 18 damage, if I remember correctly. And it's a good weapon to have. This is something you'll find, a lot early on, sometimes. Well, you don't find it a lot. It's actually not a very common weapon, but when you do find it, it feels nice. It's a good, strong weapon to have, usually, for when you're finding it in the game. And it can do some damage, especially if you're getting like sneak attacks in and stuff like that. Next we have the Dragon Bone Boko Bat. Is that what this is called? Or Boko Club? Boko Bat? I'm not sure. This thing's pretty crazy. It has a very high damage number. I don't know. There's just something about this weapon that I feel like I don't usually pick these up super often. I mean, if they have like enhancements on them, like if it does more damage or something like that, I'll end up I pick them up a lot, but I feel like usually I end up dropping these for other stuff. It's really good though, don't get me wrong. I don't want to hate on it, but I just feel like for how good it is, I don't love it as much as something like this, even though they're in the same tier. Because I do think this does more damage, but it's still a really cool weapon. I like it. I just not quite as much as how good it is, if that makes sense. So we have the Moblin Club. This thing is horrible. It's a two-handed weapon. It does 9 damage. I'm pretty certain. This thing, like, you find a lot like later in the game. Like I feel like I don't see them wielding this at the very start. I don't know. Maybe they are. Maybe they do, and I just can't remember. But this thing is horrible. Every time you find this thing, it's like, oh, why would I ever pick this up? It does 9 damage. Like, you kill a freaking giant moblin that has this, and then it's like, oh, this thing is horrendous. So, never use it. But then the upgraded, Spiked Moblin Club, is that what this is called? Again, I could be getting the names wrong, but I know what they are based on what they look like, so I think this is the Spiked Moblin Club. That's the name I'm giving it. 27 is the number that is on the top of my head. I'm not 100% sure about that. But 27 is the number I'm thinking when I see this, which is good. It's better than the 18 of this. I actually do like this weapon a lot. I just, you know what? By the time you get this weapon, it's actually pretty good usually. Like, I can, whenever I see an image of any of these weapons, I can think of, you know, the time in the game, usually where I'm at when I get them. And by the time I'm getting these, they're actually useful still. Yeah, but yeah, this is usually useful, you know? By the time I get it, I feel like I do pick these up pretty often. It's a good weapon. Next we have Dragon Bone Goblin Club, I think. I think 45 is how much this does. Also really good, of course. But I feel like by the time I get this weapon, I have things I like more, like, you know, like Royal Guard weapons, for example. And I feel like I usually don't pick up these weapons by the time I get to them. I mean, sometimes I will, you know, sometimes they can be good, but I feel like by the time I get to this point where these are dropping, I'm not usually picking them up. But it is still a good weapon. Onto some Guardian weapons. We have the Guardian Axe, just the base one. It breaks pretty easily, but obviously does more damage to Guardians, so... I feel like I never get as much use out of this as I have as from the Spiked Boko Club. So it's going to go in B tier. I do think it's better than the rest of these because of the additional damage it does to Guardians and things of that nature. So, but it's still going to go in B tier. But then we have the Guardian X Plus, which is I feel like a huge upgrade. I'm even going to move this all the way up here because it's a good weapon, and especially obviously against Guardians, you know, against tests of strength. It's a really nice thing to have. So I do think I'm going to put this above the Spike Pogo Bat and put it in S tier. Finally, the Guardian Battle Axe Plus Plus. This thing is a beast. This thing is absolutely insane. This is our highest ranking so far. I believe it does 60 damage. Melts, you know, Guardians and things of that nature. Actual Guardians, unlike these two. These two are good against Guardians. You can cut off their legs with them. But they're probably going to break before you finish killing it by, you know, doing the swirl attack by holding Y. But the Guardian Axe Plus Plus, you're going to kill some freaking Guardians with this thing. And its durability is going to last you long enough to where you can do that. It's a really, really nice weapon. I believe the number is 60 damage. And even more, I think, on Guardians. So, really, really good weapon. Ooh, and now we're on to some Lionel weapons. This one, I feel like I never see this one. I do love fighting Lionels, but I feel like at this point in the game, I'm not fighting them enough to find one that has this. Like, I feel like by the time I'm fighting Lionels semi-often, they're dropping this one. I don't remember what these things are. I don't remember what they're called. Something Crusher? Maybe they're just called Lionel Crushers. Is that it? I'm not 100% sure, but I don't even know if I've ever had... I'm sure I've had it at some point, but not recently. I don't remember ever picking this one up. It is a Lionel weapon, so I'm sure it's still good, so I'm going to leave it in A tier. You know, I would never put this with Traveler's Claymore, but not super common. And this one, on the other hand, this one's pretty good. I have had this one from time to time. Still not a super common pickup for me, but it's just a better version of this, basically. So, of course, it's good. Does some high damage. And then finally, the Savage Lionel Crusher. I believe that's what these are called. Crazy damage, and, you know, by the time you're at end game, and you're killing a lot of Lionels, and they're dropping these, they're going to have, like, stat boosts on them. This could honestly be borderline X tier, but we're going to save that for the very pinnacle, which, and by that I mean, like, one maybe two weapons. But this thing is incredible. Obviously with the damage boosts, it can start doing over 100 damage per hit. Very durable as well, I believe. Really good weapon. The same cannot be said for the next one. We have I believe this is a Bokoblin arm. I don't like any of these. The only time they're good is in Trial of the Sword, when you're fighting, in the final level, when you're fighting skeletons, which obviously can get killed in two shots, I guess, after you break them apart and then hit them in the head. But they're not good. Durability is obviously terrible. I never pick up bone weapons unless I'm in that situation. Okay, so here's, you know what? We actually do have to add a tier for these. Actually, no, we don't, because, you know what? We're not basing it on what it turns into. We're basing it on what it is, and what it is a Rusty Claymore. Not good, not durable. Why would I pick that up? Terrible. Why would I pick it up? To turn it into an actual Claymore, you know? Through the Octoroks that can then clean them for you. But that's not what this is. This is just the rusty version, so no thank you. So we have the ancient, I don't know what this is called, the ancient chainsaw, ancient chain blade, I don't know. This thing's fire. This thing is so cool. In most of my runs, I usually don't end up getting this or any of the other, like, special Guardian weapons because I don't farm for Guardians, you know, in the end game, which is easy to do, of course, but It's just not something I usually do in most playthroughs, but I did get this recently just to try it out. It is fire. It's really freaking cool. It's going in double S tier. I don't remember how much damage it does, but on looks and vibes alone, I think it earns that. If you have the Royal Claymore, 52 damage, I think, is the number. That's the number that comes to my mind. Really good weapon. I know I always have these on me, but I feel like I don't usually use them because, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of two-handed weapons most of the time, and like if I'm using one, it'll usually a Savage Lionel Crusher or something like that. But these are really good too. They're very durable, of course. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it here because I feel like it's just not. I don't love it quite as much as I love the three that are in double S tier right now. So it's gonna stay there for now. Okay, now we have the first weapon that's gonna be higher than it should be based on how good it is. We have the I can't remember what this thing is called. The Silver Sword or something. Sora Silver Sword. I don't remember, man. Maybe it's just called the Zora Long Sword. It might just be called the Zora Long Sword. But what I'm getting to, I love all the Zora weapons: the bow, the shield, and this and the sword that we'll get to eventually. I assume so. They're all fire. This is probably my least favorite, just because again I don't love two-handed weapons. But on looks alone, it's awesome. I love how all the Zora weapons look. So it's gonna go in S tier for me. So we have a Golden Claymore. So here's the thing. This is the thing about all Gerudo weapons. You know, besides Urbosa's weapon that we're gonna get to. By the time I get to Gerudo Desert, which is the last section I do, Naboris is the last Divine Beast I free. By the time I get there, these weapons are useless to me. This thing is not very good. I don't remember how much damage it does, but I never pick these up. They look cool. Don't get me wrong. They look cool, but by the time I get there, I never use them. So for me, this is for me in my playthrough. For you, it could be really good, but for me, I go there last. By the time I get there, this thing is useless. So for me, I'm gonna put it down here because by the time I get to it, it's not good. But you know, it does look really cool. I'll put it in A tier just because it does look. I do love the look of it. By the time I get here, it's just not that useful to me. You know, I never end up using them. Next, we have the double-sided axe, or whatever it's called. This thing does 18 damage, but when I pick this up, I'm not using it for damage. I'm using it to break boxes. Now, when you start the game, the normal axe is what I always keep on me. I always keep an axe on me just so I can break boxes. Because, you know, you can use bombs, but then the contents of the box are going to fly out everywhere. So I always keep a normal axe on me, and then by the time we find one of these that is stable, usually, I'll trade it out for this sometimes. And use this to break open boxes. So that's what it's for. That's what I use it for 99% of the time. It's for breaking open boxes and maybe even a mineral if I don't have a sledgehammer on me. But I use it for breaking open boxes and chopping trees as well. I forgot to mention that. And chopping trees. So just for its usefulness, it's going to have to go into S tier. Next, we have a sledgehammer. Now, speaking of usefulness, it does 12 damage. Obviously, it's not for combat. But its durability is very high. It can break open the minerals, the stones, in one hit always. And it lasts a long time. This thing is definitely going up in double S tier. It's probably the most useful, you know, non-combat item in the game. Because you can also break boxes with this as well. If you don't have an axe, you don't need the axe. You can just use the sledgehammer. I guess the axe I do use the axe for breaking boxes, but I also use it for chopping trees, of course, which you can't do with the sledgehammer. But very, 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 very useful item, and it definitely earns this tier up here. And the Woodcutter's Axe. This thing I love just because, you know, it's kind of iconic. The first one you get is the old man's, you know, King Rome's axe on the Great Plateau, and it's a special weapon to me. You know, this thing holds, I feel like, a little more sentimental value. At least more than this axe, because I always have it at the start, and it just kind of... Just for that, I'm going to put it in double S tier. Alright? I know it's the same as this thing, but probably worse. But just for me, it goes in double S tier. And again, it's useful for all the reasons I described this one being useful. Next, we have some elemental weapons, which these things kill me sometimes. I'll explain. First, we have the Great Flame Blade. I do like the Great Flame Blade. I do think it's my least favorite of the three, and that might just because it's the one I see by far the most. I feel like I see this one way more than I see the other two, so that might, make me not like it as much as the other two, but it's very useful. Of course, you can use it to start fire, you can use it to chop a tree if you need to. I mean, you shouldn't need to, but if you do, you can. It's a great weapon, of course, if you're fighting, frozen enemies like Lizalfos. You can hit them with this, although when you're fighting frozen Lizalfos, you're not really going to be wanting to use a two-handed weapon because they're so fast. It's going to be really hard to hit them with this, so you might not even want to do that. You'll probably just want to stick to fire arrows. But it is a really cool weapon. It can keep you warm when you put it on your back as well. That's probably one of the best parts about it, because then you can wear, like a barbarian helmet, snow boots, not the cold ones, but the ones that you walk fast in the snow. And then, if you're in like the deep cold, you can still have the warm doublet on, or the Rito chest piece that Link wears. And this acts as a separate piece of clothing. So if you have one warm clothing on and then this on your back, it acts as if you have two warm clothings on. So it can be very useful in that regard as well. It's really useful. You can use it to start fires, like I said, to pass time if you need to. It's a really, really useful weapon, but I just don't love it quite as much as the rest because I find it so often. But I feel like in terms of usefulness, I don't know. I'm going to keep it down here because we're going to get to the other flame weapons, which I like more, because I don't find them as often. So this is going to stay in S tier, although it's very, very good. It's probably more useful than most, if not all, of these other weapons here. It's the Great Frostblade, which I kind of feel... And you'll also notice that part of the reason why I'm putting this down here also is because it's a two-handed weapon. I've said that a million times. I don't love two-handed weapons. They're just not my go-to at any point in time. But the Great Frostblade is cool. I like its attack better. I like the sounds better that come from it. I think it's better against enemies sometimes because it's really nice to freeze them and then hit them while they're frozen, and it'll send them flying, and they won't be able to attack you for a minute. So I do think it's better than this one in terms of combat. Maybe it's not, but this is just the impression I have from my own experience. But still, I don't use it for combat much, and I mean, like this, you can use it for cooling yourself down rather than heating yourself up with the Great Flame Blade, of course. I think it's cooler than the Flame Blade, but still not my favorite weapon by any means. But I really like it though. Don't get me wrong. It's it's up there probably, but not like way up there, if you know what I'm saying. So I don't know. I'm gonna leave it in S. You know what? No, I'm gonna put this one in double S. Just barely. Like, this is the very top of S tier, and this is probably the bottom of double S. I now that I look at the rest of these, I don't think I can quite put it in that category. So it's gonna actually stay in S tier, just like the rest of these, including the Great Flame Blade. But if I was, positioning them within the tiers, the Great Frostblade would be higher up, at least higher up than the Great Flame Blade. But next, though, we have one that is definitely going up into double S tier. The Great Thunderblade. I feel like this is the rarest of the three for sure. I don't usually find more than one, maybe two of these in a playthrough, which makes them more valuable, of course. And the thing is, once I get them, because of that, I end up not even using it much because I don't want to break it. I usually just end up putting it up in my house, and sometimes I'll have all three of these up in the house, and it'll look really cool. But the Great Thunderblade is definitely my favorite of the three, and the thunder category, the spear and the sword as well, wherever they are down there, those are all my favorites. And there's no different for the Great Thunderblade. It's awesome, and then when you take it out, the sounds it makes, the way it lights up fully of electricity, it's sick. It's so cool. If we have the first, what are these things called? Cobble Crushers? I don't remember. Yeah, I think this first one's called a Cobble Crusher. It's not good. These aren't good, and even by the time you get to Death Mountain, you're going to be finding these guys down here, which are actually awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong, for the same reason the Sledgehammer is good, this is good, but this version of it specifically there's no reason, I don't recall ever really using one of these, because by the time you're on Death Mountain, you're finding these, so this is just kind of pointless. It's going to go down into B tier. And next, what we've just been talking about, the Stone Smasher. I can't remember what these are all called, so you'll have to forgive me on that. But I think this is called a Stone Smasher. I'm pretty certain it does 42 damage, if I remember correctly. Again, don't question all that. I'm sure I've got some of those wrong, but 42 is the number that comes to mind. This is great to have for the same reason the sledgehammer is great to have, but the thing that this has on top of the sledgehammer is that it actually can do damage. Like I said, 42 I'm pretty sure is the number. So it can do some great damage as well. Notice I feel like it's less durable than the sledgehammer. I don't know for sure. But either way, I think the sledgehammer goes up because you find them so often, and I know for a fact they're very durable. I think these are pretty durable, but I feel like they start to break a little sooner than a sledgehammer, so it's going to go down here. But still a very, very solid weapon. Next we have an ore. I would love if it was possible to know how many enemies I've ever killed with this thing, because the number is probably less than 5, definitely less than 5, probably less than 3, potentially less than 2. I don't recall ever picking these up and using them, because if you think about it, where are you going to find a paddle like this? You know, like Lurelin Village or the coast, right? Any coast that has beaches. When are you going to get to any coast that has beaches? Pretty late in the game, and this thing does pretty much no damage. I don't know the number on this one, but not enough to ever pick it up or use it. So this one's gonna have to go in the very bottom of B tier. And yeah, we don't have lower than B tier. That's because well, that's just because how the tier list was made, and I didn't feel like changing it. But for me, it's because I love every weapon in its own way, even this friggin' ore. So that's my reasoning there. You know, if there were lower categories based on just how good they were, this would definitely be lower. But that's how this list is going. All right, next we have. I don't remember what this thing's called. It's the thing that is dropped by the big Yiga dudes. It's a katana. It's like called the wind. Does it have wind in the name of it? I can't quite remember, but it is really good. But I feel like I don't find them often, and when I do, because those guys don't even start spawning in the overworld until like late in the game, and even by the time you see them, you know, in their hideout during the mission to get the Thunder Helm back. You obviously are not supposed to fight them in that mission, so you're not really going to get them in there either. So it's not something that I get like barely ever, and I think it's again it's a two-handed weapon, so it loses points for me because it's very slow, and I feel like it's not quite good enough to justify its slowness, like you know the Lionel Crusher, for example. But it is cool. It looks very cool. Don't get me wrong. I think it's gonna have to go in S tier because of how cool it looks, and it does have pretty high damage. I'm not sure how the durability is. Again, pretty rare weapon, but it's not the greatest. But not the worst either. Definitely not the worst. So we have a farming hoe. These things I am familiar with. You do go through a lot of farmland throughout the entirety of the game, especially in the beginning. And you get picked up pretty often. Not good. It's a two-handed weapon, if I remember correctly. Not much damage. I mean, you know, it can be good against red bokoblins if it's all you have, but even that, I feel like I don't even come into situations like that early game where I want to pick these up because I'll have, you know, at the very least a traveler's sword or something, you know. There's just never a need for a farming hoe. That's gonna be the case for all these weapons like this, like the soup ladle that we get later on. Or is it ladle or ladle? First of all, I don't know. I don't actually know if it's on here or not. Oh, there it is. Yep, like that's gonna be down here. Spoiler alert. But yeah. Okay, this is the 8-fold long blade, right? Which is not the same as the one the big dudes carry. I don't remember the difference. This is a Sheikah weapon. I think it's really rare. I don't remember if Yiga members carry this or not. I believe this is just a pretty rarely found Sheikah weapon that is going to be found in chests and shrines. I think that's what this is. Again, two-handed weapon, so I don't love it, but it is a katana, so it earns coolness points for sure. But I feel like it's so rarely found. I don't know if I don't think I've killed many enemies with it in over all my playthroughs of Breath in the Wild. So I don't know. I feel like I have to put it above these because it is cool as a katana, but it'll go in S tier. So you have the Royal Guard's Claymore. I love these black weapons, the Royal Guard weapons. And now that I actually think about it, I think I called this Royal Guard's Claymore as well. Did I? I don't know. This is just the Royal Claymore. These are the Royal Guards stuff. These stuff are just the royal things. So, the Royal Guard's Claymore. Now, of course, the lore of these Royal Guard weapons is that there was a critical design flaw that made them not very durable. So, they do lack durability, but they make up for it in damage. This thing does like 72 damage or something like that. So they do a ton of damage. First of all, they're just awesome. I mean, look at that thing. Unfortunately, yeah, it does break pretty quickly, but I think it's still worth going in this tier just because of how cool it looks, and it is very good until it does break. Like especially if you get like a sneak strike off on a silver, moblin or whatever. It's great for that. We have the giant boomerang, a special weapon here. This one's awesome. It's not great. I feel like by the time you find these, because it is a pretty rare item, by the time you find these, it's not good enough to pick up or use. But it's really cool. It's really freaking cool. So, I don't know. It's really cool, but it's not good. That's what it comes down to. So, and it's a two-handed weapon, which usually I don't like, but on it being a boomerang, that's kind of sick and fire. So I do like this thing a lot. I have to put it up here. It's not very good for fighting, but man, it's so cool. It's so cool it has to go up here. Next we have the Boulder Breaker, Daruk's weapon, 60 damage, which once we get to someone down here, spoiler alert, it's going to be kind of a joke that a two-handed weapon is doing 60 damage. But when the game came out, at least before the Trial of the Sword, this was, one of the best base weapons. And it's extremely durable, of course. Here's the thing, in my usual playthrough Breath of the Wild, I don't really use the champion's weapons except to kill maybe a couple enemies. And then I return them to my house. I just have them all hanging up in Link's house. That's what I do with the champion's weapons in my normal playthroughs, but the Boulder Breaker is awesome. It's really cool, especially seeing Daruk wield it and being able to swing it around with one hand. It's pretty badass. So it's gonna go in double S tier. It's just not quite good enough. The 60 damage is really nice, and if you start holding Y and swinging it around in circles and just hitting the boss over and over, or just an enemy, I guess, it's really good at doing that. But I don't think it's not quite better than a really good Lionel Crusher or something like that. I think it's better than this in durability. I feel like it's really durable, but not quite good enough to be in the next tier. Next we have the Edge of Duality, a very cool and unique Yiga weapon. And actually, you actually find some of these pretty early game. I remember always finding one of these pretty early on in a shrine. And yeah, it's really good. I can't remember how much damage it is. I think it's like 50 maybe. It's around 50, something like that. It might be 50. I can't remember. It's something 50 damage, if I can remember correctly. It's really good. I mean, when you're early on in the game, especially. And if you want to sneak strike any enemies with this, you're gonna do some real damage. If you want to kill a Helix with it, I mean, by the time if you sneak up on a Helix and start doing the spin attack with this guy, like a blue Helix or something, or even a red one early on, by the time he stands up and his health bar actually pops up, he'll be almost dead, and you can basically just kill him real fast. So for that, it's really good. But again, this is the thing with this weapon. This one is actually pretty unique, because for most of these weapons, there's like a specific time of the game you use it. Like it's early game, mid game, late game, based on how they spawn. This is a weapon that is, really good, obviously, but you can get it at any point in the game and it'll be useful. So I think that's a really cool thing about it. And the design is awesome. It's a double-sided blade. It's got a little bit of lore there attached to it, and it is really cool. I don't know. I feel like because of its usefulness, getting it early on, I'm gonna put it up here because it's so nice to have early on, and I know you get at least one early on, and I think they're at least moderately durable. So it's really good. I do think it just barely earns the double S tier. Next we have a leaf. Is it called a Korok leaf? I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. We have the leaf. I know you can blow enemies with it. It's pause on that, but I know you can blow enemies around with wind with this leaf here, and that's fun to do. And I know the only thing I use it for is when it's needed for a shrine quest, like the shrine quest in the Lost Woods, where one of the Korok trials, where you have to take the chest across the mud pond or whatever it's called. I know you have to use it for that, but I think that's the only time I actually end up using one of these in any given playthrough. So, sometimes you'll want it for taking a raft across a body of water, like if you're trying to get out to the island, it can be nice to use. You usually find one around there, but it's not something I ever keep in my inventories, and it's not something I use for combat, so it's gonna be pretty low on here. Next we have some DLC weapons, and here's the thing with me and these DLC weapons. I didn't own any of these amiibos back during Breath of the Wild. I think I own the Majora's Mask amiibo, so I do have this now. But in most of my, early playthroughs that really cemented everything in my mind here, I never had this. Or the other two, for that matter. So we're ranking pretty much just on how cool they look, because I don't know how much damage they do. First of all, we have this thing. Is it called the Twilight Sword? I don't know. I know it's the sword that you use in the final boss of Twilight Princess, which is a very cool fight that I haven't played yet. I really want to play it. Looks really cool. For looks alone, it's going to go in S. I can't quite put any of them up here, I don't think, maybe, because I don't know how much damage they do. This is Big Goron's sword, right? I think. Same for it. Looks cool. I will put the Fierce Deity sword up in double S, actually, because, I mean, the Fierce Deity is awesome in all of his glory. His armor, his weapon. It's all fire, so I will put that up there, and that is the one I've used the most. But yeah, cool stuff. And I am glad that they got added in Tears of the Kingdom without needing amiibo. I thought that was really cool. This we have like the Yiga version of this katana. It's I don't remember what it's called. The Windbreaker, maybe? I think it's called the Windbreaker. I think it does 40 damage. These numbers are just like the very top of my head. I could be fully wrong. Okay, I looked it up. It's called the Wind Cleaver. So close enough. Pretty sure it's 40 damage. It does look really cool. It kind of like glows in the game. But it's another one that you're not going to find very often because only the big Yiga members drop it. So it's by the time I get there, I'm not picking up a two-handed weapon that does 40 damage because I already have better stuff than that. So it's not very useful for me, but it is really cool. It's objectively pretty good. But by the time you get there, you're going to have better stuff usually. So for that, it's just going to have to stay in S tier. On to some spears. First we have the Traveler's Spear. This thing is a turd. I think it does 2 damage. Or maybe 3 or 4. Not good at all. Soldier's Spear, a little better. I think 7 is how much damage this does. Still not good. Still not something I pick up very often, but it is definitely better than the Traveler's Spear, obviously. And I've just realized something based on where I have everything else ranked. It doesn't make sense for the Soldier's Claymore to be down here and for the Spiked Bullet Bat to be up there. Because this does do 20 damage, and that's better than any of these. So I'm actually going to cheat and move the Soldier's Claymore up to A tier, because it does not deserve to be down there. And I think I would even take the Soldier's Claymore over this, just because I feel like relative to, it's the kind of weapon it is, you're finding these pretty early game. I feel like 20 is a pretty high number, because like finding these early game, it feels great, because it's 18, and this is 20, so I don't really know why I put that in B tier. I don't know what I was thinking when I recorded the first half of this video yesterday, but I think it's just because after having everything up here, and I can see everything relative to everything else, it's gonna go in A tier. And then for the Soldier's Spear, I do like spears. This is the first, well, I guess the second spear we've had on here. I like spears. I guess they have the same problem as what I've been calling two-handed weapons, big weapons. To where you can't have a shield out, but you can put out damage so fast, and it doesn't take forever to swing one time. And because usually that's where you're getting hit using a two-handed weapon, is when you're trying to swing, and it takes forever. But with the spear, you don't have that problem, and you can actually obviously execute a string of attacks very quickly. And this is actually very good because obviously it only takes the 2 hits of a two-handed weapon to make an enemy fly back and fall over. But it only takes 1 flurry, and it can be to like you can just charge it to where you hear the ding. You only have to hear 1 of them, and then you can initiate that flurry real fast, and the enemy will fall over and fly backwards. So it's nice. Or you can just do the standard string of attacks, and on the last one he'll fly back. So good. I like spears. They're good. I like them better than two-handed weapons. So I don't know, but I still feel like the Soldier Spear sucks. Just when I see that 7. When I see any number below 10, I just don't want to pick up the weapon. But that being said, it is better than all these down here, for sure, so it's going to have to go in A tier. Okay, next then, the Knight's Halberd. Halberd. This one is significantly better than the Soldier's Spear. And it's still something I don't pick up very often. Is it significantly better or is it 13? I feel like it's 13. I think it's 13, so it's actually not significantly better. And just looking at it, I feel like I usually don't pick these up because they're not anything super impressive. It's not that good. I don't think it's as good as any of these. It is better than the Soldier's Spear for sure, but I don't think it's quite enough better to be up here. And I know that 13 is a deceivingly low number. I know that it's better than that, because the damage per second is actually going to be, pretty high because of how fast you can attack with spears. But I still feel like it's not quite as much of an upgrade as it needs to be up here. So we're gonna keep it down there. Next we have probably my least favorite weapon. This thing is so bad. Even when you pick it up like at the start, it sucks. So even when you're fighting red bokoblins, this thing is terrible. It does 2 damage. It breaks after like 3 seconds. It's not good. Next we have the, I don't know what this is called, spiked boko spear, I'm assuming. This thing does 6 damage. I think that's the number that comes to mind. So it's going to be up here. Better than all these, but still not great by any means. I feel like I've been a little harsh on the old ancient axe. I mean, it's not great, but I'm going to leave it down here because I feel like the durability kind of does screw it over. Next we have the dragon bone boko spear. I assume is what this is called. This one is better. I can't remember how much damage it does though. I think it's like 18 maybe. That's my guess. This one's pretty good. But I'm just going on feeling for a lot of this, It just kind of what comes to mind. I feel like this doesn't start dropping until kind of late for the amount of damage it does. I feel like it should start dropping like slightly earlier. But it's a good weapon, but I feel like by the time it starts dropping, it's not what I'm looking to pick up. So for that, it will go in S tier because it is better than all these, but not quite a bit. I think 15. I think it does 15 damage. It's just this is like the very bottom of double S tier because it is pretty good, but not good enough, to be any higher than that. Okay, so I was second guessing myself, so I looked it up. Apparently this thing does 12 damage. So, but apparently this is 12 damage, and again, like the Knight's Halberd, it's not enough to bring it up. I don't know why I was thinking it was 15 or 20. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But it's even worse than the Knight's Halberd. How about that? So. Gonna be down here in the A tier, another disappointing spear. And again, I know the damage per second is higher, but this is just where I put them in my playthrough. I don't end up picking them up just because it kind of turns me off to them. On some Lizalfo's weapons, we have the base Lizalfo's spear, which does 7 damage. I'm pretty certain on all these. This does 7 damage, so it's got to go up here. It's better than all these, but still not great, but definitely better than, it's a better starting point than we've had so far. These are the other 2 starting points for spears, and they've been terrible. Next we have the enhanced Lazo spear, which does 12 damage. It's going to be in the same tier, but it would be obviously much higher in the tier. And then we have the forked Lazo spear, if I can actually select it. 18 damage. This is the best base spear that drops, like in the line of upgrading from base enemies like that. I'm pretty sure 18 is the number. I think I have that memorized, and this is the spear that drops that I pick up by far the most. This is the only one that I see and my brain says, oh, that's a good weapon. So I pick these up. These are really good. The best spear so far. Back to some bad spears. Moblin spear. I don't remember how much damage this does. I really don't. I'd never pick. It's terrible. It's not good. I couldn't tell you how much damage it does. Definitely less than 10. It's not good. Next we have this second Moblin spear, which I don't even remember what it's called. This is another thing. When I see it, my brain just says, don't pick this up. It's not good. So, I mean, I'm assuming it's better than the rest of these, so I'll put it at the bottom of A tier, but not good. But then we have this one. I don't know, is it called a Dragon Bone Moblin Club? Or, I mean, spear? My brain is saying that this is not a bad weapon, so I don't know. This is going to be at least A tier. Okay, I looked it up. It does 15 damage. So I guess it's okay. You know what? I can't remember how much damage this does, but I just when I see it, my brain just says this thing sucks. So it's gonna have to stay down here. And my brain also wants to put the soldier spear down here, but I'm not. I'll leave it. You're lucky. You're lucky. You are just barely edging out the very, very, very bottom of A tier. But anyway, this thing does 15 damage, so it is pretty good. It's the best of these. It's better than. It's the best spear on A tier. It's it's borderline S tier, but I would say it's probably to the top, next to these guys here. But it's still not quite enough to reach that S tier. Not as good as the forked Lazo spear. So you have the Guardian spears. Oh man, look! I'm just realizing the streak we're on. We are doing nothing but spears for a hot minute. Next we have the first Guardian spear, right? There's Ancient spear. No, this is the Guardian spear, because this is the Ancient spear. Yeah. So we have the first Guardian spear. It's not good, but all these spears are better in damage than the other spears. Like, this is a much better starting point. Yeah, not great, but definitely A tier, definitely not down here. It does break pretty quickly, but again, it has, you know, a bonus damage done to Guardian enemies, so it's nice for that. But I do remember, by the time you get to the end of this game, these start dropping all the time from Guardian enemies, and you're just like, there's so many of them on the floor that you just do not want, and it's just like, okay, well, I've seen these so many times. They're not great. They get annoying towards the end, but not the worst either. Actually, the Guardian Spear Plus, I can actually not remember what the next two damages are. I'm gonna assume it's better, so you know, this is actually gonna be really simple. Oh look, we've broken into the double brackets here. But Guardian Spear Plus is just a better version of this one, and it's a pretty significantly better version, at least in comparison to the upgrades of, you know, things like these. So it will go in S tier, and then finally the Guardian Spear Plus will go in double S tier. I can't quite remember the number of damage, but it is really good. And these things actually, you don't actually get them very often. They don't drop very often, so it's a nice thing to have. It's quite good. By quite good, I mean it's really good. It's the best weapon we've talked about in a minute, so that's nice. Ooh, this has got to be like one of the rarest things for me. This piece right here, the Lionel Spear, just the first version. I said the same thing when I was talking about this. I never pick these up because I don't fight enough, you know, of the first type of Lionel, the you know, the weakest Lionel that carry these weapons. I don't usually fight. I don't fight Lionel in the early game, basically. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever held this. I mean, I probably have at some point, but I don't remember it at all. Like, this thing just looks kind of foreign to me in a game where everything feels like I know it like the back of my hand. I don't know how much damage this thing does. I don't know. I feel like if it's a Lionel thing, it has to be better than any of these. So I think it's gonna have to go into S tier, probably towards the bottom of it, but I can't put a Lionel weapon with a Soldier Spear. That would be a crime, so it's gonna go into S tier. The Mighty Lionel Spear, I do pick up these from time to time. I don't remember the damage number on any Lionel weapons except for one of them that we'll get to later. But I mean, it's just a better version of that. I don't know if I'd quite put it into S tier, into double S tier, I should say. It does look awesome. All the Lionel weapons look fire. And this is the hardest decision I've had to make so far. I'm kind of like comparing it with what else I see. See, I don't think I can put this with the likes of the things that are up here quite yet, so it's gonna stay in S tier. And then the Savage Lionel Spear will go in double S tier. It's really good. Crazy high damage per second when you're, you know, using the flurry ability, or even if you're not, just the base attack pattern is very high damage. We have this thing. I don't remember what it's called right now. I don't know why, but it's bad. It's pretty common. Oh no, I know what this is. This is a rusty halberd. What am I talking about? This is just a rusty halberd. Like the other rusty weapons, we're not rating them on what they can become. We're rating them on what they are. And this is a rusty halberd, so it's going at the very bottom. Pitchfork. Now, I actually remember the pitchfork is actually the best of these kind of weapons that I was talking about. I know I said earlier that I was going to put them all down here when I was talking about the friggin' ore. Pitchfork is actually the best of them, so the pitchfork will go in A tier. I'm pretty sure it functions as a spear, and the damage is not the worst. Durability is probably terrible, but it's better than these, so it's going to go in A tier. Next, the Ancient Spear. This thing is fire. Much like this chainsaw, it's something I hadn't gotten until more recently. You know, the second half of the past however many years it's been since Breath of the Wild came out. And we're approaching 9 years, which I can't quite comprehend that. I don't really want to comprehend that. That scares me, so I'm not going to mention that again. But this is an awesome weapon. All of the ancient weapons are fire, and this is one of my favorites. I mean, just look at it, dude. Just look at this. Look at this friggin' spear. It's badass. Don't remember the damage number, but it's awesome. Next, the Royal Halberd. Now, this thing's actually really good. I'm actually going to put this in double S tier, because I think it's... I don't know. I was going to say I would drop a Royal Claymore for it, but I actually don't know if I would. Because I know a Royal Claymore is insane. But this thing does like 20-something damage, like 25, 26 maybe? Is it 26 damage? That sounds right. I think it does 26 damage. Which for a spear is insane. I mean, think about the time it takes for you to hit an enemy twice with a spear. It's like almost instantaneous. And that, so 2 hits from this can be as good as 1 hit from the 52. I don't want to move too much stuff around. I've already moved around something down here. I kind of feel like this should be an S tier. I feel like this is as good as these weapons up here. I mean, it's better than this. It's better than this. I mean, this is just a cool factor one, but it's better than these. It's better than these and these. Okay, yeah, we're just gonna have to move that again. I guess that's kind of a thing I've realized as I put more stuff down here, that it's better than all those. But the Royal Claymore will go up here as well. I mean, I've already talked about it, but it's a great weapon. It's better than all these. I've only now realized. And same for the Royal Halberd. It's, again, damage per second is nutty. And if you think about how long it takes you to hit an enemy twice with the Claymore, and then you have to go chase them after they get flung, and then it takes you however long to hit them again a couple times. And you're doing damage pretty slow. Even though you're doing a lot of damage with each hit, you're doing it pretty slow. I mean, the best strategy for these weapons is obviously to just hold Y and spin around. But even then, if they're flying a bunch, it can be a little annoying. But with a spear, you can just... Enemies are super easy to cheese with a spear. Like silver enemies. Because you can just keep hitting them, and each hit will, like, stagger them with this spear. Like each hit, they'll, like, you know, react to it, and then they won't move. You can just hit them for every hit of the combo up until the last one, and then not hit them with the last one, and therefore they won't go flying back. And then you can wait for Link to reset his attack pattern and then start over again and repeat that process over and over. They'll never be able to do anything, and they'll die pretty quick. And these weapons are very durable. So I would take the Royal Halberd over the Royal Claymore most likely. The only thing this has over it is the sneak attack ability, but besides that, I would usually probably take the Royal Halberd over that, unless the Claymore has like an enchantment on it or something, you know, extra damage or something like that. I might go for that, just for the sneak strike ability, or for, you know, winding up on Phoenixes and stuff like that. But generally, I would go for the Halberd. Korok Spear, a pretty unique weapon. It is better than these. 15's the number. It's 15 or 12, I think. 15 and 12 are the 2 numbers that come to mind. So I guess it's got to go on this tier. You know what? I think it's cool. I like the Korok weapons. I think they look really cool. So for that, I'm gonna put an S tier. It's probably about the same amount of damage as the best spears I have in A tier down there. But I think it looks cooler, and it feels cooler. You know, it's a pretty unique and rare weapon that you don't pick up very often. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad at all, and I really like the look of it. So for that, and the vibe of all the Korok stuff is really cool. You know, they made them for the Hylians. It's kind of cool. So I would put that in S tier. Next, the Zora Spear. Again, my love for the Zora weapons is tainting my view of how good they are. Because this thing's not. It does 9 damage. It's not good. Even this, when I look at it, I think, okay, yeah, that weapon's not that good, unfortunately. So it's gonna go in A tier. It looks awesome though. And you know what? Even with looks, it's not good enough to go in S tier. I would put it at like the very top of A, you know, considering all my criteria. But it can't quite break the S tier. And the reason, if it was the only Zora Spear, it probably would. But we have the Silver Scale Spear, which is fire. This thing is so sick. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game, design-wise. And it's definitely going in S tier. It does 12 damage, I think, which is not a huge upgrade. And again, it kind of annoys me how some of these spears work, where their upgrades are not that much better. But not great on damage, but man, one of my favorite designs. You know, it's going... this is criminal, probably, but it's going in double S tier. Mainly for the design. This is a design thing. I love the design. It's so unique. I could be wrong, but I believe in the lore with Sidon, the lore about him being swallowed by an Octorok and stabbing his way out through the top. I believe he wielded a Silver Scale Spear in that. I'm not 100% sure about that. It could have just been like a fan art I saw that had him wielding one, but either way, that's the canon for me, and I think the description says that this is used by the Zora warriors. So, looks fire, lore is fire, look is fire. Again, let me say that again. The look is fire, and for that, element's going double S tier. I love how it looks. Back to a Garuda weapon, and man, like I said, I feel it makes me kind of sad how I don't use any of the Garuda weapons, because by the time I get there, none of them are good enough for me. Especially this one. This one looks awesome. I love the look of this thing. And I am thankful that in Tears of the Kingdom they made it to where Gerudo weapons are actually insane for the like boost you get for when you attach something to them. Although I don't like that gameplay mechanic as much as just picking up a normal weapon like this, but they do become really good in Tears of the Kingdom. But in Breath of the Wild, which is mainly what I'm basing everything on here, they're not good enough for me by the time I get there. Unfortunately, I just have stuff that is so many miles better, and it's just never something I'll use because I never go to Gerudo Desert until I've freed all 3 of the other divine beasts. So it's always the last one I go to. It's just my habit. So unfortunately, it's gonna have to stay in A tier. But I love the design of this one. You know what? Just for the design, because I feel bad for how I'm having to do Gerudo weapons, I will put it in S tier. I think the design alone just barely can get it there. I really like the design. It's very nice. Okay, this is a throwing spear. We have the throwing spear here. Not really. It's not really a good weapon, but I guess it's made for throwing. You know, it's not great. I imagine the durability is low. And I can't even put it up with these. I feel like it's worse than these weapons, so it's gonna go in B tier. Next we have the drill shaft. This is something that I didn't come around on until, like, you know, within the last 3 years of playthroughs of Breath of the Wild. This thing functions just like the sledgehammer, or, you know, the where is it? The stone smasher or anything like that. You wouldn't think of it by looking at it. I mean, maybe you would, because I mean, obviously it's a drill shaft, so it makes sense. But I never thought of it like that, because I just thought of it as a weapon, and it's not great as a weapon. I know you get one of these. I know one of the moblins that is attacking Unobo during the mission to free Rudania. I know one of them is holding this, and that's where you can get one. And you find them sometimes, but they're not the most common weapon. But I'll keep one on me if I don't have a sledgehammer, and I'll use them to break open mineral deposits. And that's what this is good for, because it breaks them open in one hit, and it's pretty durable for that. So it's really good for that. So it's gonna go to S tier. Very useful. Just not as common as sledgehammers or anything like that. Sure, the feathered spear. This weapon sucks. I mean, it's not good. You find it and it looks cool. Very Rito, of course. But it's just not good. And whenever we get to the other Rito weapon down here, it will have the same issue. It's just not great, unfortunately. Not by any means is it great. The feathered spear, it's another weapon that I just wish was better, and it's not. So I don't even know if I can put it in A tier. I mean, it does 10 damage. It does look pretty cool, so I guess it'll sneak into A tier, but it's not great by any means. Now we're back to some weapons I love, and for people who were upset of me not singing the praises quite to the full degree that you would expect of the Great Flame Blade, next we have the Flame Spear, which I just think is a way cooler version of the Great Flame Blade. And again, maybe that's just because I've seen the Great Flame Blade too much, but this is definitely going in double S. I love this thing. I think it's fire. No pun intended. I do think it's fire, and it's really cool. And you know, it has all the upsides of this, but minus the annoyingness of having a giant two-handed weapon weighing you down and taking forever to do anything with. So it can keep you warm. It can light a fire. You know, it's great, and it's great against enemies as well. Next, the frost spear, equally fire as the flame blade. I love it. I mean, I love it for all the same reasons. I really, it's hard to say. I think the design of the spears is much cooler than at least these two great weapons. I just love how it kind of looks like the edge of a snowflake there. It's really cool. I love both of these so much. And finally, the Thunder Spear. I mean, if that's just not the most badass name you ever heard, I don't know what is. But this weapon is awesome. I love it very, very much. All these weapons are pretty rare. I mean, you're only really going to find these in some shrines as a reward. Usually in blessing shrines is where you're going to find these as a reward. So they're pretty rare, especially to try to find one specific one. It's going to be kind of hard to find specifically, but they're all awesome. I love them all. I mean, all these are towards the top of this tier, even close to X, but we're only going to have like 1 or 2 weapons up in X tier. I want to save that for the very best of my favorites. Although, if we're going by favorites, I'd probably put this up here. Probably put this up here. Probably this. Probably this. I don't know. That'd be different, but we're considering everything here for my tiers. Next, we got a mop. It's going to be tier. Moving on. Next, we have the Serpentine Spear, which is a Sheik weapon, right? Not super. I think it does 12 damage. I could be wrong. How many times in this video have I take a shot every time I say in this video I could be wrong? You will be deceased by the end of this video, believe me. But with the Serpentine Spear, it's either 9 or 12. Can't remember, but I do like the design of this weapon. I feel like I like it less than the other Sheik weapons so far, though. I like it less than the Katana and the Edge of Duality. So for that, it's gonna go. It's still gonna sink into S tier. It would just be lower than the Katana, of course, but I still think it's really cool. I love the edge of it, but again, it's just not a common weapon. I feel like none of the Sheikah weapons are super common, you know. But it's still a cool weapon, although you're just not gonna be coming into contact with it very often. It's a pretty rare weapon, a harpoon. Is that what it's called? I don't remember, but it's not good. It's just take my word on it. It's not good at all. It does like 2 damage or something. Yeah, really bad. I don't think I've ever killed an enemy with this, to be honest, because you only find them like in Lurelin Village. You'll see some of the dudes holding them, and you'll see some of them with like fish on them. So not a common thing by any means. Next, we have another one of my favorite weapons, the Royal Guard's Halberd. Again, for some of these, it's like I'm saying everything the same as I said for the Royal Guard's Claymore. All the things apply, but it's just a spear. So I like it more. That's just what it comes down to. It just looks sick. I love the Royal Guard stuff so much, especially the bow. I think the bow is my favorite thing in the Royal Guards. But bows are not in this list. That's probably a good thing, or this list would take me probably like 8 days to finish. But for the Royal Guards Halberd, it's awesome. I mean, I feel like I'm running out of things to say about some of these, but it's really cool. Okay, here's something I can say. I don't really end up finding and using any of the Royal Guard stuff super often, because I usually don't visit Hyrule Castle, believe it or not, until I fight Ganon. Because I like when I play through Breath of the Wild, I'm going in it mostly for the story, and I guess equally for the gameplay, but I want to make sure I experience the story the way it's, to fully make it as as linear as possible, as if it's like a fully connected story, which it can be. Don't let people tell you it's not a story or anything ridiculous like that. It is, and it's my favorite story in a game ever, and I like playing it through in a way where if it really feels like you're playing through the story specifically, rather than just going off on your own and adventuring, which that's fun to do too, but I usually do that after I beat the game for the story. And yeah, I don't usually go to Hyrule Castle until I fight Ganon. Sometimes I will. Sometimes I'll go there just to grab the Hylian shield. That's the only reason I will go to Hyrule Castle before. But one reason why I don't like going to Hyrule Castle before is because when you go to Hyrule Castle, you get a little cutscene that plays. The second you step foot, onto its radius, whatever you want to call it, like when you get up to the gate, you get a little cutscene of Calamity Ganon, sensing your presence basically, and it's sensing the hero's presence, and I think that fits even more with the story at that point. So that's how I usually play. So I don't usually get Royal Guard's weapons very often, because obviously that's where you find them, is in the castle. So I don't usually have those until the end. So I don't have a ton of... So, most of my playthroughs, the vast majority of time in my playthroughs, I do not have these weapons. But when I get them, I use them and they're awesome. But just not the most commonly used weapons in my arsenal. If we have both of them. We have the Ceremonial Trident and the Light Scale Trident. I'm just gonna take one of these away, and we're just going... The Light Scale Trident is what we're going with here. Mipha's weapon, Mipha is my favorite champion, probably. I mean, she used to be for sure, but man, I love Urbosa. First of all, I love every champion. I love all 4 of the champions. I love them all to death. But I think it's between Mipha and Urbosa for my favorite. But this weapon's awesome. It has a lot of lore in it as well, and it was wielded by Mipha, which makes it extra special to me. And the lore, after the lore of it is, after After Mifa, you know, met her fate in Ruta, they tried floating her trident down the river. You know, it's kind of like I guess a mini funeral for her or something like that. And they heard a voice within it, so they kept it. And yeah, that's the only reason Link even has it, because they chose to keep it because they heard a voice in it. So I love this weapon. This is gonna be my first X tier, and it's gonna be one of maybe two, probably two weapons that go up there. I love it. It's something I don't use. It does 22 damage. It is really good. I think it's the best spear in the game, right? I don't remember how much damage the Ancient Spear does. I'm sure that one's great. And the Savage Lionel. Those are also probably great. But it might be the best spear, and if not, it's just about the best spear. But yeah, I don't use it much. I hang it up in my house, but it looks awesome. The lore is awesome. I adore this weapon. Went from that to the Traveler's Sword. 5 damage. I'm pretty certain is the number. Not good at all. The thing with the Traveler's Sword, you find these in the world for longer than you need to. Like, the game should stop giving you Traveler's Swords, you know. Definitely by the time you get to Kakariko Village, you're not going to need a Traveler's Sword anymore, but they still keep throwing them at you for some reason. So, I don't know why, but they're not good. And here we have a good upgrade, finally. The Soldier's Broadsword is really good, actually, in comparison to the Traveler's Sword. It does 14 damage, which is very nice. Very, very big upgrade. 9 damage points higher than the Traveler's Sword. I wish the spears were learned from that kind of enhancement. Again, DPS, I understand, but one-handed weapons are my favorite. I said that way earlier in this video, and we're just now getting to them finally. But the Soldier's Broadsword is really good, and I'm a fan. I am definitely a fan. I like how each of the broadswords have a unique sheath that they go into. I like this better than any of these weapons, to be honest. So it's gonna go in S tier. It's just nice to have. They're my favorite. They're just my favorite weapons to have, because you can have the shield out. It just feels fully like the Link experience as it's made to be, and it just brings me great joy. Finally, the Knight's Broadsword, which I can't remember the number on this one. I cannot remember the number on this one. I'm pretty sure it's 20 something. It's in the 20s. It's 24, 26, something like that. Really, really good. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like I can't quite put it up here because we're gonna get to a better version of it. Yeah, but it's really, I can't quite put it up there because I would kind of. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna put it up there only because of the usefulness of it. This is a weapon that you find a lot, you know, from mid to late game, and by the time you get to late game, you're gonna be running the Royal Broadsword over this. But for a huge part of the mid to late game, you're gonna be having a lot of these, or at least I am in my playthrough. That's what this is based off of. I don't think I love it as much as these weapons. Like, honestly, I could make another tier in between the top one and put like these. All of these would go here for sure, and probably these. But this is just one of my favorite weapons to have. In like, again, I love how the sheath changes for each one of them. So yeah, it's a really, 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 really good weapon that I've gotten a ton of use from over the years. Next we have a Boko Club, quite the difference from our last one. Now, I do like this the most, definitely, from the Boko weapons. I love it way more than the Boko Bat, and way, way more than the Boko Spear. I still can't bring myself to bring it out of B tier. It's not good, of course, but it's decent. It can take care of red bokoblins pretty effectively, although the durability does not last it any time at all. But it's okay. It's not the worst of this bottom tier. Definitely not. Next, we have one of my favorite weapons, surprisingly, probably to hear. The Spiked Boko Club. It does 12 damage. It doesn't sound good, but like when you find these early game, it just feels like you have struck gold for some reason. Like when I look at this, I just think, oh hell yeah, that is what I want to have. Like these are just like, this is like the best weapon to have at the start of the game that you're gonna be able to get. And they drop semi-commonly, and they're always nice to have. I always carry a few of these on me for a pretty good portion of the beginning of the game. And they always feel nice, and, you know, they have that early game value that a lot of these I don't feel the same way about. And again, you get some of these a little later, but I feel like this weapon is it's pretty good. Like, it's not better than the Soldier's Claymore or anything like that. but I feel like I get more use out of it than any of these items, because I feel like all of these that are okay, don't start dropping until later, or they're rarer to drop, at least, until later, or maybe just rarer in general. Whereas this is, I would say it's uncommon, but not super uncommon. It's fairly common, I guess, is the best way I can say it. It's fairly common, as in you probably have a couple on you at a time, early game, or maybe a few actually. Now that I think about it, but it's 12 damage is just really good. You can defeat blue bokoblins with that kind of damage pretty effectively as well. So just really, really, really good early game weapon. Even though 12 doesn't sound that insane or anything, it's very useful, and in any given playthrough, it's very useful. Next, we have the Dragonbone Boko Club, which is an upgrade. Pretty significant. I think it does 25 damage. That's the number that comes to mind. But I don't love using it. Here's the thing. On paper, I should love using it. The reason I don't love using it is probably so trivial and stupid. But when you have it on Link's back and you have a shield equipped, it because it's thick, the top of it, like that giant bone part of it, it's obviously not flat, and it doesn't go in a sheath or anything, of course. So that you just have that giant thing on your back. And the shield, that if you have a shield on your back at the same time, the shield is bulging out. So there's part of the shield that's floating on the sides of Link's back. And this obviously is attached to the weapon. I understand that. It's attached to the back of the weapon, but I don't like how it makes Link's shield look, sticking out like that. So it's not like it's a bug or anything, or it's a glitch. It's supposed to look like that, but it just doesn't look near as slick and clean as a broadsword, for example, that you have back there with the shield right up against Link's back. I just think that looks way better. It's a really stupid reason, but for that reason alone, I often do not pick these up because I don't like the look of them on Link's back. Sometimes I'll pick them up and just have them in my inventory and switch to them when I get into a fight or something, if it's the weapon I want to use. But I just don't like how it looks on Link's back. Such a stupid reason, but for that, it's gonna have to stay down here and S tier. Even for damage, I don't think I'd put it up here with these, and I only put this up here because it's really useful. Ooh, next some weapons I really like here. The Zolfos Boomerang. Yeah, that's what these are called. The first one is I think 7 damage. It's not good. Even by the time you get to Lanayru and you're going to Zora's Domain, that's when you first start fighting the Zolfos. This one's not great. It's not really going to do you much good, but it's okay. It's not bad or anything. It's just, I will say I love the boomerang effect, of course. Like I've said, any of the boomerang weapons I think earn bonus points for being sick. But this one, just 7 damage, is just a little too low for me to put it any higher than A tier. If it was 9 damage or 10, maybe I could put it up there, but for 7, I can't. So we have the forked, is this called, I can't remember actually, forked Lysol Boomerang. I will put this one a tier up, and then finally the Tri-Boomerang, the Zolfos Tri-Boomerang, is that what it's called, I think? Anyway, this thing's a beast. This thing does 36 damage. This is a weapon I have on me, all the way up towards the very end of the game, pretty much. Although the amount of Lizalfos you're fighting by the end of the game, for me, goes down because I'm, over in the western side of the map where there are not as many Lizalfos. I guess there's some Lizalfos in Gerudo Desert, but I usually avoid those because, they're just in the sand, which I just want to get through to get to town or whatever. But it's a really good weapon. 36 damage is insane. I think this is probably my go-to weapon, before the Master Sword. Or it would be. Before the Trial of the Sword came out, this would probably be my go-to weapon. But now with the full, complete Breath of the Wild, I think I would still pick... Obviously, the Master Sword's way better, but 36 damage for a base weapon is fantastic, so it will definitely go in double S tier. Next we have the first Guardian Sword. This thing is kind of poopy. I don't remember the number. Dude, the numbers are throwing me off. I feel like I've mixed up some of these numbers from the axe and the spear and this, because they're all kind of blended. But I know it's not good. Maybe 15, maybe 9. I couldn't tell you, but I do think it's better than these weapons. And you know what? I think I finally have to do this. I think the axe just does not deserve to be down with the wretches that are down here. To be honest, it's not good, but I don't think it's as bad either. So that'll have to go up here. I'm sorry to change my list so many times, but as for the The sword, you know, it is my favorite of the originals. The first tier of guardian weapons, because, you know, it's the one-handed one, so I like it a lot. Again, like I said with the spear, you're going to be finding these a ton by the end of the game, and you're just not going to want any of them. But they're okay, you know, they're just the worst version. And then we have the Guardian Sword Plus, just going to go a little bit higher. I love the designs of these swords as they get more decked out. And finally, the Guardian Sword Plus Plus, which this is like at the very top of double S tier. This thing is sick looking and super iconic. I love this weapon. This is one of my favorite weapons in the game, probably one of my 10 favorite weapons. I love it. Always keep them on me. They do a ton of damage. Very nice to have. And next, Lionel swords. Now this, unlike the other two, like this guy and this guy, I actually do get at least one of these usually. Or sometimes, I guess, maybe not usually. I think from killing the Lionel that's part of the Zora's Domain quest, Lionel Safari, but also it's part of the, you know, gathering shock arrows quest for Ruta. But I usually kill that Lionel, and usually get this from him, or I guess I always get it from him. He doesn't have like a random weapon; he always gets this one. So yeah, I do usually pick this up in a playthrough, but yeah, I'll usually use it pretty soon after that, and then it's gone. It's not great or anything, but it's I mean, it's really good. I think I would put a tier above all of these, but it's still not the best weapon out there. And the Mining Lionel sword, I feel like this is one I don't get super often. I mean, I feel like I probably could pick up maybe one, maybe two, in any given playthrough. Probably usually an average of like 1.5, I guess. But I don't think I want to put it up here quite yet, because it is really good. I don't think it quite earns double S tier, so this is probably like the top of S tier, and then the Savage Lionel sword definitely goes in double S tier. It does 58 damage, I'm pretty sure, which is actually only 2 away from the fully upgraded Master Sword, which is insane. And on top of that, if you're hunting Lionels after you've beat the game in like way late game, they're going to be having enchantments on them, and this thing can do like just ridiculous damage if you find the right one, and it can do that ridiculous amount of damage real fast. So it's quite insane, and yeah, one of my favorite weapons, and one that I pick up very often. We have a couple more arms. I'm just now realizing this is a Moblin arm, which is a two-handed weapon, which makes me hate it even more. But then we have a Bokoblin arm. Don't like it. Okay, I will say, Lizalfo's arm, the fact that it works as a boomerang is fire, but even that cannot save it from being at the bottom, because it's not good. Rusty Broadsword, not good. Soup, Ladle, not good. I think Ladle, right? Oh, then we have the Guardian Sword. Or I guess this is called the Ancient Sword. Love it. One of my favorite weapons in the game, for sure. Probably top, I don't know, top 7 maybe, top 6. Maybe top 6, maybe not. But really high up there. I love this weapon. This is actually the weapon for me, besides the Master Sword, because I don't like using the Master Sword on basic enemies. I like saving it for bosses and stuff, so it never runs out of energy. It feels more lore accurate. But the Royal Broadsword, this is like the weapon of late game for me. Like, you know, now I feel like I was kind of thinking of this in spirit when I was talking about this. This is gonna actually go back down here. The Knight's Broadsword, or I mean the Knight's Broadsword. It is really, really good, and I do love it. But you start getting these like mid late game, you know, early enough to where you're gonna be using them a lot while you're still completing the story. And I feel like this is one of the weapons I've had on my back more than almost any other weapon on this entire list. So, and again, unique sheath. I love this one's sheath. It's like a purple, a royal purple, I guess you would call it. It's so cool. This weapon all around is one of my favorites in the game, and it was designed after the. You know what? Actually, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's actually only the Royal Guards broadsword that was designed after the Master Sword. So yeah, this one I don't think was designed after the Master Sword, although it does look a little similar. Maybe it was slightly designed after it. But it's awesome. It's my favorite royal weapon, 100%. And one of my favorite base weapons in the game. If not my favorite. Probably actually my favorite one that just drops from normal enemies. I think it's probably that one. Next, the Korok sword, which is really cool. It's not great or anything, but again, I think for the same reason I put the Korok spear up here, I'm going to put this in S tier. because I really like it. And I don't use it super often, but it's very cool. Okay, here we go. Here comes the bias again. Prepare yourselves. We have the Zora sword. This is one of my favorite. I'm sorry. It's going in double S tier. I'm sorry. It's not good. I think it does like 12 or 15 damage maybe. But just look at it, man. Can I zoom in? Can I zoom in for the people at home? Just look at it. Just hush and look at it. Okay. That thing is beautiful. That is one of my favorite designs in the game. That and the silver scale. Those are two of my favorite, basic designs. I love them. I love all the Zora. The Zora weapon designs are incredible. This one's no exception. This one might be my favorite. I think the silver scale is my favorite of the two, but I love this one as well. If we have this thing, again, I feel so sorry for the Garuda weapons. So I guess for you, I don't know. You'll go here because you do look a little cool, I guess. And this one will go up here. Although this one's rare. I feel like I never even find this one. I mean, I guess when I do, I wouldn't pick it up again for all the reasons I've stated. But this one looks cool. I almost confused this one for Urbosa's weapon, but it does look pretty similar. But it's not the most common. Not common for me at all. I couldn't tell you the last time I killed an enemy with this in Breath of the Wild. Again, Tears of the Kingdom, it's good, but not quite in Breath of the Wild, unfortunately. For me, by the time I get there. Of course, if you get there earlier, it's going to be good, but not for me. Next, what is it called? It's called the Feathered Edge, I think. Yeah, the Feathered Edge. This thing disappoints me, because the game gives it to you, and you find it kind of later on. Or maybe this is my problem again. Rito Village is the second to last Divine Beast I go to, Meadow. And so I guess that's kind of my fault, but I do think it looks cool. I love the little sheath it goes into, but again, it's not great. It doesn't do much damage at all. Probably, I think it's like 12 or something, maybe 9. It's not great, so it's gonna be down here. Okay, these are the most basic and probably the most common of the elemental weapons. Just the broadswords, or the sword, whatever they're called. The flame sword, flame blade. Maybe just called the flame blade. I think that's what it's called. I'm gonna put it in NSS tier. I think it's sick, and it's just more convenient. The only reason it's an S tier and the Great Flame Blade is not is because it's more convenient. I don't even think this one necessarily is much cooler than this, but it's more convenient and it is fire. It is kind of sick, to be honest. I think that just the idea of having just a normal sword that's flames is cooler than having a big giant fire sword. I don't know, but I like it better, so I'm going to put that in NSS tier. Same for these, I mean, you've heard the story before. Although, I will say again, for this guy, which also gets, like, the wrap around it. Oh, I'm just remembering, actually. My mistake earlier. The Great Thunderblade, I don't think gets the wrap. I think this just goes on your back. But this one does get the wrap, and it's... Oops, not you. And it's the sickest thing in the world, and I love it so much. And yeah, this is probably definitely top 5 weapon for me. You know what? Yeah, because I'm remembering now that this gets the wrap around it, and this guy doesn't. I'm gonna put it just barely in the very top of X tier, and I don't know. This kind of feels wrong because the Great Thunderblade is also so cool. But I do specifically remember it was a few playthroughs ago. But I don't know what was going through my head during that playthrough, but. I mean, I understand myself, first of all, but every time I found one of these elemental weapons, specifically the thunder ones, I would keep it in my inventory and not use them because I didn't want them to run out of durability and break. So I just had a bunch of them in my inventory. Eventually, I had to, drop them because I was actually getting really good weapons that I needed. But yeah, I was just hoarding Thunderblade weapons, which I can't blame myself for, but I love them. They're probably my favorite in the game. I'll keep this next year, just barely. Just barely. It's not great or anything, but it makes up for that and being awesome. Okay, here's something. This one's weird for me. I don't remember what this thing is called. It's the Spring Hammer. It does goofy things, I think. I have not used this since like my first playthrough or second playthrough of Breath of the Wild. My first few, I guess. And fun fact, I played it for the first time on the Wii U. When I first fell in love with this game, it was on the Wii U back when I was 13. When the game came out, it was on the Wii U, and I do know that I got this on the Wii U, and I've probably got it maybe one time since then, but I don't remember what it does specifically. I don't remember. I assume it makes enemies go flying. I don't remember using it. I don't remember, like, I can't visualize what this thing does specifically. I'm assuming that's what it does, but I don't know. So I'll put it an A because it's cool and goofy, but it's just something I'm not at all familiar with. Oh man, we're getting here. My friggin' voice is getting so friggin' raw and painful now, but we're getting there. This is, I love talking about this stuff. If you couldn't tell by how friggin' long this video is, my goodness. Anyway, next we have this is a cool one. This one's rare. I don't know. I think I found a few of these early enough to where they're good, but it's just not a commonly used weapon of mine, so it'll go in A tier because it does look pretty cool. Next, the torch. This is I could make a whole video on my history with the torch in Breath of the Wild, but this is an interesting one for me. So I used to, similarly to an axe or a sledgehammer, I used to always keep a torch on me. But here in like my past, I don't know, 5 playthroughs or something like that, I've stopped doing that because usually when you need a torch, they give you one, and I always need the extra storage for a weapon because usually I'm not picking up weapons I would pick up because I have a torch. So the jury's still out on that one. I'm not completely sure if in future playthroughs I'm going to always keep a torch on me. But their usefulness cannot be understated. I mean, there are so many situations in Breath of the Wild where you need a torch. I think it's as useful as an axe or a sledgehammer. But there are parts of the game where it's very, very useful, and you gotta love a torch. It's kind of iconic, I guess. I mean, everything in this game is iconic to me, but torch is something specifically special to me because of my history of always carrying one on me. Speaking of iconic, next we got a stick. Now this is crazy, but I'm gonna have to stick this. I'm gonna have to stick the stick in A tier. Obviously it does like 2 damage. It breaks in like 4 swings or something. It's terrible, but it's a stick and I love it. And I have killed a few enemies with it over time, or quite a few over time, honestly. So yeah, we love the stick. Sticks are awesome. So stick's gonna go in A tier, even though it's not good. It's a stick. Ooh, next another one of my favorites, the Royal Guard's broadsword. Now, I do specifically remember this one says in its description that it was modeled after the Master Sword, specifically, but unfortunately it still suffers the same downfall in the design flaw of its durability not being good, but it looks sick. It's my favorite of the Royal Guard weapons, even, and really good, really iconic. Especially the one that you find in the final trial for Trial of the Sword. There's that one level where there's the skull where the enemies are in, or I guess where they're gonna spawn in. It's on the first part of it where it's lightning and you only fight skeletons, and a bunch of skeleton Lizalfos are gonna spawn inside that skull when you walk in. But if you go to the left, there's a metal chest in the ground, and you can bring it up and you'll get one of these out, which is insane to have for the Master Trials, of course. So awesome, really good weapon. Next, okay, to be honest, I don't remember the difference between these two. I think this is the worst one. So I'll put this back over here. You know what? No, we'll rank them together. Why not? First, we'll do the worst one first. This is like the fire rod or something. I don't know. It's just the worst version of this, I think. I think it just shoots like smaller fireballs out that bounce and hit enemies. It is really good. So it'll still go in A tier. But we have the meteorite staff or whatever it's called. I don't remember what it's called. Did I call this the fire? This is the fire staff. But now we have the meteor staff or whatever it's called. Again, just a better version of that. It's really good. It has the same effect as the other fire weapons of being able to keep you warm. And yeah, it's really good. It has range actually, unlike these. So you can press Y to swing, and it'll send like the fireballs bouncing, and you can damage a lot of enemies. Get them all on fire so they do their little dance, try to put the fire out, and you can get some good damage on them with your other weapons during that time. But yeah, good weapon. As we have the normal ice rod, which not great. I mean, it actually is great because you can just freeze any enemy in the game with it. I think I could be wrong actually. I'm talking like any base enemy, but you can freeze, most base enemies. I'm not sure if you can freeze like silver enemies with it, but you can freeze most base enemies with it, and then get a good hit in with whatever you want. And I think it does more damage. I don't know that. I don't know if it does more damage or not. I think it does. They'll fall over after that and be stunned, so you can get some extra hits in. And then the Blizzard Rod, which is just a better version. I'm actually going to put the Blizzard Rod up here. I feel like this is the most useful of the rods. I call this a staff earlier. I don't know what I was talking about. They're called rods. This is the most useful of the rods, the Blizzard one for sure, in my opinion. Just because you can get so much damage done with one of these, over however many... based on how many enemies you're going to end up being able to freeze and then damage a lot after freezing them with this, it's very, very useful, and it's a really nice thing to have. So it can just be nice for fighting any amount of enemies. When you're getting swarmed by enemies that can, do a lot of damage in one shot, like, moblins, silver moblins, or anything like that, this thing is always a great little save me to have. Oh, and the same can be said for these guys, although the worst one will go down here. But then the lightning rod, I don't remember what this one's called versus this one, but the better one of the two basically is the same as this, except it has the even better thing of if your enemy is carrying metal weapons, it can disarm them, which is insane. It's better than the blizzard rod because of that. So yeah, it's incredible. It can disarm enemies who are holding metal weapons, and either way, you can stun any enemy. So it's incredible to have. Next, we have the normal boomerang, which is awesome, and I love it. Just can't quite go as high as the giant boomerang. It's not quite as cool. The damage is low. It's actually gonna go down here because you know what? I think it's gonna have to go down here because its damage is similar to this. Maybe it's a couple higher, but it's not great. But it is really cool. Next, we have Urbosa's weapon, the Scimitar of the Seven. This thing is fire. I love it. It's borderline X tier. It's really, really cool. I just think it's a little small compared to the rest of the champion weapons. I feel like it doesn't stand out quite as much for most people. I mean, it does for me because I know it, because most people can see it and confuse it for this guy right here, which is just nothing. But it's awesome. The design is sick when you zoom in on it, especially. It's really, really cool. I love it a lot, and especially when you pair it with the Daybreaker shield. It looks great, and I love, of course, the sheath it goes into. When we see Urbosa using it, it's so iconic in Fire, man. I love this weapon, but can't quite put it next here, but I do love it very much. So next we have the main Yiga weapon. This piece of poo. It sucks. It's not good. The durability is low as well. It's just not good. It's gonna have to go in A tier. Just I guess it's technically better. You know what? The durability is low and the damage is not high. It's not good. I never picked these up, so it's actually gonna go to B at the bottom here. Okay, if it, for some reason included 4 different Master Swords, including the out of energy one. Why would they do that? I'm only grading the complete Master Sword once you have fully completed Trial of the Sword. 60 damage, front of X tier. Again, I'm not putting all these in their correct order in their tiers. This is only one I'm gonna put at the very top. This is the GOAT, 100% the GOAT. The fully upgraded Master Sword. It's a single-handed weapon that does 60 damage. It is insane. It's amazing, especially against bosses. I'm pretty sure it does not run out of energy on bosses, and I don't mean like Phoenixes. I don't mean mini bosses. I mean the actual bosses, like the blight cannons and stuff like that. But yeah, awesome weapon, super iconic. Here's a picture. Hey, this is a reward for you if you made it this far into the video somehow. I have the Master Sword in real life. Here it is. I love it. It's beautiful. One of, if not the most iconic weapon in all of gaming. So yeah, I love it. It's awesome. When it gets that heavenly blue glow, there's just nothing better. There's just nothing better. I mean, all the sounds associated with the Master Sword, from the sound of when you're hitting something that's made of malice, when the sword is glowing like that. I can't imitate the sound with my mouth. Let me not even try. But man, everything about this sword I love. It's so beautiful and iconic, and it's looking better than it ever has in this game. Alright. Next we have the Goddess Swords. That's what this is called, right? From Skyward Sword. Now, I actually got this pretty early in Tears of the Kingdom and used it a lot. But again, it's an amiibo thing, so I didn't have it for Breath of the Wild. The only amiibos I had for Breath of the Wild were the champion amiibos, so I got all the masks, but obviously those don't give you weapons. But I did have this guy in Tears of the Kingdom, so for that I'll put it in S, because I do love the design, and I know it's good, because I had it in Tears of the Kingdom. I know it's pretty good, at least. It's not insane or anything, but I love the design of it. Oh, next we have this guy as well, which I also got in Tears of the Kingdom. I don't remember what it's called. But it's not that great. It does look cool, but it's just not really my kind of thing. The Wind Waker Boomerang, it's a boomerang, so I do like it a little better than this boomerang. I like the sharp edges. I haven't played Wind Waker yet, but really cool. I'll put that in S tier. We have the upgraded Yiga weapon, which these are rare. I feel like I barely ever even see these, and obviously they're late game. By the time these are dropping, there's no way I'm picking them up. So this is going to go down here. I mean, I guess I have to put it above the bottom because it's better, but it's not good, obviously. This is weird to me. I have no idea what this is. There's just a lamp in here. Can you use a lamp in this game? Is there a weapon I didn't know about? I don't know. But there's some weird stuff at the bottom of this tier list, so I'm just going to assume that's a meme. And finally, the one-hit obliterator. I have to put it next here. I mean, I have to. It can one-shot anything. One of my favorite shrines, one of the funniest shrines, is the DLC shrine on the Great Plateau. That is the major test of strength. And you just walk up to him and obviously one-shot him with this. And then it opens up and you actually get a full shrine down below. Man, that first part of the Champion of Battle DLC is so good. I mean, the whole DLC is amazing. But that first part, especially in the Great Plateau, I think is probably my favorite part of it. You know, it gets all foggy and atmospheric and this thing's glowing. Oh, I love it so much. I love it so much, man. One of my favorite weapons ever. I mean, just look at the design of it. It's incredible. Yeah, I love everything about this weapon. It's incredible. It's a one-shot. Obviously, it makes you get one hit by everything, including bees. You can die to bees now, because there's a beehive they put that you have to eliminate in one of the first areas that you have to clear all the enemies out with. But it's great. It's obviously great. It's a one-hit obliterator. I mean, what do you expect? There we have it. Oh my goodness. That took so long. I mean, I love that I have this much to say about every weapon. I mean, even now I'm looking and thinking back on some weapons and thinking, I could have said more about that. Like, I could have talked about, you know, I didn't really talk about when you get this in the game, you know. By the time you get this guy, it's always going to be really good, because for major tests of strength, after you get the Guardian Sword ++, it's always still insane, and you'll destroy major tests of strength with this. And therefore, you'll get 3 more Guardian ++ weapons. So it's insane to have. There you go. That's what I would have thrown in on that if I could go back. But I mean, I guess I could edit it, but I'm too lazy. I'm not going to go back and find that at this point in the video. I'll just put it here. So you guys know I have more thoughts on that. I have more thoughts I can probably get out on some of these, but that's my tier list. Here's the whole thing. Take a gander. So this is my personal opinion. Of course, it's not ranked on how good everything is. The stick is in A tier. I think that makes that obvious. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you watched this full video, I appreciate it. I love talking about Breath of the Wild. Hopefully you enjoyed listening to me ramble about it for way too long. This video is going to be a lot longer than I expected it to be. I've been sitting here talking for so long. My throat really hurts right now. I haven't talked this long in a long time, just straight. Like, oh my, I feel my throat closing up on me. So that's gonna end here. I planned on recording more after this, but I can't now. My throat is killing me. So I'm just gonna go, you know, I'm gonna go lay down and watch YouTube or something. But that'll do for my tier list here. Let me know if you want to see more Breath of the Wild related stuff, Tears of the Kingdom as well. You're gonna get it either way, and like I say at the end of all these videos. But yeah, it's my favorite thing to talk about. Could talk about it forever, and there will be more of that coming up at some point. I don't know when. This is the second Breath of the Wild video I've uploaded, pretty close to each other, but there will be more. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate anyone watching this more than I can express. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. Stay tuned for more. And as always, I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys.